Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. And today I got my buddy Kalen
What's going on?
joining us, and we are going to continue part 2 of our EL34 versus 6L6 tubes in the Mesa Triple Crown. And so I'll be using a Gibson Les Paul Classic, and I got the 57 Plus in the bridge and the 57 Classic in the neck position.
I'll be using a Paul Reed Smith Standard 22 with a bare knuckle impulse calibrated set in it.
And so we got some really great tones for you guys. Check them out. This is the clean tone on the bridge position. Middle position. And the neck position. Middle position. And the neck position.
we're going to be checking out the PRS, and just to give you guys a heads up, it is loaded with bare knuckle impulse pickups, and I'll be going through both first bridge, middle, both pickups, and then neck.
Well, hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed part 1 and part 2. Like I said at the end of part 1, I really wanted to save my opinion of the differences between the EL34s and 6L6s until after I got to try it with humbuckers. I'm of the mind that I don't want to get like, I'm going to use EL34s, but only for my Les Paul. But then whenever I want to do my, play live, if I want to use my Telecaster, I have to pop out the 6L6s. Which kind of seems like it's the case for my as far as my taste goes.
It's kind of tough, but I mean, because there's both definite pros and cons to both. I found both had certain tones that it totally dominated in, and the other, and vice versa. So
for sure, I'll go by my guitars because that's the how I'm kind of quantifying it in my head. One of my favorite guitars that I own of all is my Telecaster, and I definitely think on channels 1, 2, and 3 that the Telecaster sounded best with the 6L6 tubes, which was awesome because I was super stoked on that because initially when I got it with the EL34s, I played my Telecaster and I was a little bit bummed, like because of how bright the Telecaster is, that the actually high mid response of the EL34s was like
kind of like nah.
It was like very like someone with high heels just kicking me in the face.
Yeah, it's very honky and very nasal.
Absolutely, and so 6L6 is to me with the Telecaster just wins. When it came to the Strat, I think because I have the humbucker and I also have the single coils, I could make either work.
Right.
But in the same way with the 6L6s, there's just a little bit of glassiness that was that scooped, like cliche, when you have an Ibanez and you put it in 2 or 4 position.
Yeah.
And it's like the perfect version of that scooped jangle tone.
Yeah.
I got that with the Strat with the 6L6s. With the EL34s, it was like your typical Strat with a Fender.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. I'm sure. Obviously, you played and I didn't, but to me, I'd imagine it felt a little more stiff, in the sense that it was a little bit more mid-range, and it wasn't as glassy, and it wasn't as.
I didn't get the boom. The boom with the chime, like kickback.
Yeah.
And so that was 50-50.
For sure.
With my Les Paul, this is where it gets weird. Channel 1 on 6L6s I preferred with the Les Paul.
Right.
Channel 2 with the Les Paul I prefer EL34s. It had the that just the perfect amount of bark and everything like that. And then with Channel 3, it honestly depends on if I was doing metal, which I'm by all means, as y'all could tell, I'm not a metal guitarist.
Right.
But
right. No.
Right. Yeah, dude, you suck.
No.
No, but
sounded awesome. Sounded good.
But there was it left something to be desired for me on either, and I think it's just because my ears have gotten used to crunch more so than like belligerent, just like heavy distortion.
Right. Yeah.
And so I might not be the best compass for that. That's where Kalen comes in.
Well, I found that both on the Les Paul and the PRS, and the EL34s definitely had a lot more low mid-range content, and I think the 6L6s were a little bit more scooped out in the, I would say, 800 region naturally. I think the EL34s were naturally came across as a little bit tighter in some responses on the second channel, but it was kind of weird on the third channel. We definitely, I don't know if it was just our ears and how we perceived it, but with that mid-range kind of scooped out a little bit more and maybe having more low sub-lows versus low mids, it definitely came across tighter, a little bit tighter saturation on it. So I would say definitely for the higher gain stuff, I tend to lean more towards the 6L6s for that reason, but both sounded good. And honestly, EQing both, you could get both the sound pretty comparable just with messing with the knobs a little bit. So,
and nothing sounded bad.
No, nothing sounded bad. Like
everything has context.
Out of every Mesa I've ever owned, and I've had quite the list of a few Mesas, it's definitely the most instant gratification amp that I've played that they've put out. Like, as far as you could throw, close your eyes, throw the dials somewhere, and I guarantee it would still sound good, which is definitely not the case for a lot of Rectos and Mark Series and a lot of other amps that they've put out. So it's really cool to see a no frills, just straightforward amp that sounds awesome from them. So
now I do think the amp is designed from the foundation to run off of EL34s.
Yeah.
Like if you notice in the video, if you go back and check, when it's on the 6L6s, you see a little bit more drastic EQing happening. As far as what I was doing, you experimented a bit more, but you had way high output pickups versus me having pretty low output pickups.
Right.
And so, but like on channel 2, if you see with the Les Paul and EL34s, I kept almost everything at 12 o'clock. Like it just sounded right. You didn't have to do anything to it. With the 6L6s, I had to contour a bit and add some more mids back in and take some of the trebs out. But I'm really happy I got to do this. I really hope this is beneficial for all of you. Do you have anything else you want to add?
We also added a section in there where we did, because I felt like we kind of colored each side to what suited that type of tube at the time. But we also did like a straight up comparison where we put everything at noon and we went through, I think it was a lick Eric did, and we just did it boom, 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 channel 1, 2, and 3. And just to give you a straight up comparison, apples to apples, everything at noon, and gain set to taste as far as how they sound side by side. So we also did that because we felt, it was good to do kind of to taste, but also we wanted apples to apples comparison as well. But yeah, great amp. Can't say enough good things about it, and thank you for letting me play it and letting me be part of this video. So
definitely. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you haven't already, again, check out video number 1. Like, subscribe. I got more videos on the way, and hopefully you'll see a little bit more of Kalen.
I'd love to help out.
It's a blast getting to have you on board. And so, guys, see y'all soon.
See you later.